Hey She Engineers and Future She Engineers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have a very, very special guest with us, Kazova Dorothy. Say hi to everyone. Dorothy is a construction management graduate who is rocking the world of quality assurance and quality control. So welcome, Dorothy.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, we are going to dive deep into her journey, right from her time at UCE, that is O level, all through to her graduation and into her exciting career. So let's get ready for some real talk and some valuable insights from Dorothy today. So, Dorothy, to break the ice, can you tell our guests, our viewers today, something fun or unexpected about yourself that most people just do not know?
What can I say? On first look, when people look at me, they think I'm probably naive because I have a baby face. But I would like to think I'm trouble.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Trouble in what sense in this case?
In this context, in a professional sense, most times when like first glance people look at me like, oh, this is going to be one to push over or something like that. But no, I've actually become a thorn in very many people's side. Not that I'm proud of it, but I know a girl has to do what a girl has to do.
We have to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
Very good. So, would like to take us back to your time in O level. Let's first relax on the seriousness, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
how about you tell us what was your favorite snack in the canteen in your O level? Yeah, going back deep.
My
O level.
favorite snack, let me see. This was my favorite snack. Not that I liked it very much, but it made economic sense.
Okay.
You'd buy it and you'd be full all through lunch and you'd have to chop portion beans. And that's what it was.
Okay.
Logs.
Oh my god, me too. You know, it's so funny. For me, at break time, I always looked forward to buying a chapati and logs. So I had the tendency of wrapping. I'll buy like 2 logs and a chapati. Very satisfying. You wrap half the chapati in one log, half the other. Oh, the other half of the chapati in the second log you paid for. You didn't need lunch, by the way.
You didn't need lunch.
For context, Dorothy and I went to the same O-level school. That's Nabisunsa. So Nabisunsa OGs.
Shut up.
Yeah, so that is why we are relating on the break issue, and that's why I had the need to, find out what she enjoyed so much in her O level.
Yeah.
So, what was your most dreaded exam? Do you have like a particular exam you did in school that you came out of and still remember up to today?
Yes. My katab. Form 6 katab.
Really?
Yeah.
I
did a combination that required me to do all my papers within the same week. I came out of each of those papers more, I don't know, like I'd have more questions than answers.
Like if someone asked you how was the paper, you'd also want to ask more.
Even me, I would want to ask like, how was it?
I know, right?
As that whole week was generally like a blur to me. I kept on thinking, okay, what is happening? What is happening? Everything just kept on happening very fast. You'd be moving.
Can
from one
imagine.
table to the next.
That was which combination?
Meg.
Oh yes, Meg used to do the first 3 because I remember I also did the first 2. I did PEM, so my first 2 were consecutive.
Yeah.
Then I had a good break before I did my physics practical. Then later on I did my. It was crazy.
The math, we had the econ, we had the geography. I did all my papers in 1 week.
Did you not know this? Couldn't you find a way to structure this thing in a way that no combination is doing?
So unfair.
Anyway, what are we saying? In the real world, sometimes these things still come back for us.
Yeah,
so,
I guess it prepared us for more.
It really did. I can say it did because right now, the course I'm pursuing, we do 6 modules. Guys, we do all our modules in 1 week. Paper after paper. Like today, tomorrow, the other day. And for someone that had finished course school, it's traumatizing me, but clearly the neighbors had prepared some people. Yes. Do you have a favorite high school teacher? And if so, why were they your favorite?
Yes, I think my favorite high school teacher was my Form 4 math teacher. I my whole time all level I was barely understanding mathematics. And then we got to Form 4 and I got this teacher who literally used to teach us like we were back in P1.
Okay.
And then out of blue math made sense to me.
In the final
In
year.
the final year
Oh,
of
that's
O
nice.
level. And that's when I finally decided I'm like, I could actually take math.
So for all we know, if it wasn't for this favorite teacher, Dorothy would probably not be here today.
Yeah.
Should have done like some hair, or head.
Good thing I was also not that good at history, but I think originally I was planning to do geography, econ, and French. It made sense to me.
Wait, what would we have called that? Feg or Jeff?
I really don't know. I have no idea what I would have become. I'd probably, if all had gone well, maybe I'd be working at the embassy or something.
I know, right? Actually, would most likely you really would. Okay, so would you like to let us know your teacher's name? We could get her promotion wherever she is today.
It was Mrs. Matovu Sarah.
Oh my God, Mrs. Matovu. I relate. I'm relating to that. I think if my mom is watching this video, she relates.
Yeah.
Somehow in my final year, she became so close to this lady. Because this lady was so warm. She was what she was.
I just felt
Mrs. Matovu, in case you watch this video, a big shout out. And I'm going to look for you most days. So, okay. So, construction management. What sparked your interest in this course?
so. My big sister, is 7 years older than me, but for some reason, we've always been like besties. So she did quantity surveying at campus, and like I used to hang out at her office a lot when she had just finished campus, gotten a job. So for some reason, I was always hanging out at her office. So one day I meet her boss. And her boss seemed like this guy who really knew what he was talking about. I don't know. I don't know whether it was a work crush. I don't know. Like I just admired the kind of life he would lead. And then one day I asked my sister, "Wait, is your boss an engineer?" And she was like, "No, he's a construction manager." So I asked her, "What combination do you need to have done to do construction management?" She was like, "I think maybe you can do construction management." I'm like, that's some course I would love to do. So obviously high school gets done, and then my best friend Michelle and I go to uni to apply for courses. And she was there, she had done BEM, so she was there applying for quantity surveying and what. And quantity surveying, I think they required physics for you to apply for it. So she was like, "You apply for the construction management you've always wanted." So I'm like, okay, but do I really even have the weights? Like, then I was skeptical. And then even like, I had gotten some job in bank, in Form 6 bank. Yeah, I was a cashier at a restaurant. So there was like this frequent customer that would always come in. So when results came out, he asked me how many have you gotten, and I tell him. Then he tells me, "So what course do you plan on doing?" Like I'm thinking of doing construction management, but I may not have the weights. And I think also the fact that I've not done physics, it may be a bit difficult for me. I was like, "You don't worry about things, you just apply, the rest you'll see from there."
Yeah. Okay.
So we go to uni, and obviously I wing it. I put it as my first choice, thinking, if they don't give it to me, then obviously
was this sorry to interrupt, was this the job, or was it the private?
Private.
Okay.
Yeah, private applications. Yeah, so we go to apply, and then obviously I had put things like B start, B con, B com, all the things that people that have done math without physics do, and I had put them as my second choices, and I had weights for them. So I thought, obviously, if I don't give me my first choice, there's that popular belief that you would put a higher weight course
as the
as
first
the first
one,
one,
and
then the course that you want maybe as a second one. And me, for some reason, that time I'd convinced myself that I could fit in at least that class. But I guess fate had always known
that you belonged
that
here.
I belonged here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I put it as my first choice, and I was so shocked when Mom gave it to me. I'm like, I couldn't make those weights. I couldn't have made those weights. So I really don't know what happened. It was a Hail Mary.
Well, Mary, kudos. A real kudos to Mary. Okay, that's really nice. That's really nice. So, what were some of your biggest challenges you faced? So now you've finished applying, they've given you the course, and you're the course. So,
Yeah. Now, one of the biggest challenges was imposter syndrome. It began really long ago. In first year, like I would be in a class, and for some reason I'd be there and I'm thinking these people have done things, people have gotten more points. So I kept on thinking like I'm an imposter in this class. I kept on feeling that I don't belong here. I do not belong here. There is no way I am in a construction management class. And
with you no physics.
I know. And that everyone who used to hear that I am in college of engineering is like, doing what there?
No, wait, who is everyone? Give us context. Who is everyone?
My OGs would see me in the college and think, you're here.
I think we see what you were saying about the misconception that everyone has about you. Yeah?
First of all, I was in a more serious of students in level. Like, I was just on a chill. I don't know. I was in my own world. So I think people would be shooting, why are you here?
What course are you doing? That can actually really increase your imposter syndrome.
And you would really see that look like,
like, am I lost? I think I also, for me, my imposter syndrome started at the university. And it came from the fact that I looked for civil engineering everywhere. I applied to MOOC, on my job, I put civil. They didn't give it to me. I applied private. They gave me, I think it was electrical. But I knew what I was looking for. I wanted civil. I then applied for, what was it? I went to Chambogo. As for Chambogo, they told me, no, you points, no, you don't belong in that class. I'm like, am I tying on something I don't know? But because deep down, I knew that if I didn't take on what I wanted, I would have found studying hard. So I insisted until I ended up in UCU. Now, in UCU, I was like, these people only gave me because they are like a private school that easily gives people places, but not because necessarily I have the marks and the mind for, like a brains for it. So I suffered from some kind of imposter syndrome, especially in my first year. I gained stamina after my first year, but there when I just started, and then you people in my year, there's a way they failed so many students their final year project. I almost quit. I had already suffered from nothing of I've tied on this course, and then I'm hearing that people have failed like almost more than half the class is not graduating, and then I'm like, now me. At that point, I was like, was the Chambogo man correct? What exactly? Man, I understand you. So tell us, any memorable projects or experiences you did while in school?
Let me see. Projects is this time we were told to build a roof truss. And we all thought,
it's just a truss.
It's a truss. How hard can it be?
Even you were already seeing yourself drawing it in the book and so yeah.
It was like, how hard can it be? Like we were supposed to do a model of a roof truss. This will be done within 2 or 3 days. So my group and I go home, chill, and then we wait like 2 days to that presentation to go build the roof truss. Unbeknownst to us, the roof truss was not a one-day event.
Wait, you guys went the day before the deadline? Oh my god, I relate to this story openly.
Have you ever stood and like we were working with like small pieces of wood because we had to make a mini model of a roof truss, and not just any roof truss, not gable, what a hip roof truss.
Oh my!
So we reached the workshop and then we realized We underestimated this project. I think we stood from morning. We left the workshop at around 10 p.m. and our roof was complete. My legs were
And the
swollen.
presentation was the next day. Oh my
The
god.
presentation was the next day. But we had to take a truss and take like all additional glue and wood pieces so I had to complete it the next day. Oh my! The pressures were on.
I don't know if it's how in your group, are you girls or you are a mixture of boys and girls?
A mixture, but for some reason all of us
What ratio? How many
underestimated.
girls and how many boys were in your group?
Wow, probably more girls than boys.
I suspected so. And this is the point I want to try. Because there is something about girls, yeah? We are not quick to respond, yeah? You get something and you're like, I'll do it. I don't know if it's because we overbelieve in our last minute power.
So I don't know.
But there is a way we wait for the last minute. I had a similar scenario. I have a project that I did with, now for us it was worse, we're only girls in the group, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
We said painting and doing things like today, and presentation was tomorrow. Guys, my classmates had running projects. As in, their projects were actually not just models, they were actually generating electricity. Ours wasn't. Our things were not glued like family. And to make matters worse, like there's a way, like paint was wet. The things even broke during the presentation because of last minute.
Oh, like, just
that's so funny and relatable. Okay, so I can imagine, you know how in high school, when you go to school, like you've just been schoolwork, like books and it's different in engineering school because they're always going to try to give you a feel of the practical.
Yeah.
So how did you maneuver blending the practical part of the construction management with the theoretical part of it?
It was actually hard, very hard, because okay, in MOOC they begin showing you the practical bit of it, starting from year one. At the end of year one, we have 2 months of recess. And in that recess, we barely got a break. Yeah, it was literal hard labor.
Can you imagine?
Like there wasn't any obvious design. Computers were out of this.
Yeah, you had to just put your overall on and move out empty-handed.
Yeah.
You were the plumbers, the electricians,
the painters. We did everything. We were the surveyors, and in scorching sunshine. So I used to manage such an environment. Like, I'm just a girl.
Right? Then guys, there's so many times in engineering school where you first pause and be like, but why am I in the wrong place?
Yeah.
Like there's something they will tell you to do. I remember there's a day in our recess was supposed to fix something in a hall, the accommodation halls. And it was, I think, water week. Guys, we had to climb into the roof. By the way, I think that guy, that technician still remembers me. Me, I had refused. I was like, who's climbing this thing? I'm like, no. And they told me you're climbing it. And I like it. One thing I like about engineering school, the people in there understood that they needed to make us understand, with the girls, that you're going to need to do these things. Yeah. So embrace it now. Don't wait to go out there.
There wasn't anything like chivalry at this point. All of you were the same. If we are painting, we are painting. Whether you're on a ladder, whether if we are in overalls, we're in overalls and boots and helmets. That is a must for everyone, no matter the temperature. No. So that gave us like a
I'm told that MOOC there was a lecturer that would even refuse people to do nails. Like you can't come with done nails.
But I think those were mechanical.
No, but it makes sense. Mechanical. That long nail is about to enter a machine.
Yeah. And then I remember sometime in research, like such things where you're overall halfway because it's so hot. Someone has actually been bounced from a class because of that. Like there wasn't compromise. Actually, some of the tutors in that research never even used to let us roll our sleeves.
And they were right. Because, for example, when you look at the work environment we're in now,
Yeah.
can you even risk it to roll your sleeve on site?
No.
And yet it's funny, then it looked like they were just nagging us because when you look at normal construction sites in Kampala, people are working with short sleeves, vests even. So you wonder why these people forcing me to put on. But they actually were really, really right.
Yeah, like they really instilled, like during those 2 months, they really instilled in us that safety culture and said they instilled in me the fact that this is actually hard labor. Yes, you may end up being a supervisor, a lawyer, but you needed to know what the person on the ground, the person from the front line is doing. You needed to feel their pain. We carried bricks, we built roads, we cleaned gullies and trenches.
I dug a manhole.
I remember there's a day
trenches and manholes. I was like,
yeah, they told us to load maram on a truck, and you people, I thought it was very easy to spread.
I think we also loaded soil. I think we did.
I thought it was a joke to actually put things on a spread and lift them to a truck.
That's physical. The biceps. Okay. It was really, really crazy, but somehow we did get a hang of it. Yeah. So, can you share with us the most challenging course unit that you met in your pursuit for your bachelor's?
Yeah, structural analysis, strength of materials. Okay, structural analysis, given the fact that I have done physics. Yeah, that's a bit hard. I think it was generally because even the people that had done physics who were the same thing.
Structural analysis wasn't a joke.
Up to now, it's something that I did.
And up to now, I feel
pass a paper.
Actually, if I meet an engineer who tells me they sit and do structural analysis,
I respect.
I give them another level of respect because, man, that calculation.
I had never went for you be in class and you're calculating one number on 3 pages, and I'm thinking, how am I supposed to do a paper of this? I was sorry.
And funny how by the exam you've gotten a hang of it and you're actually very prepared to even say more script, and you're validated for it. Almost everyone in the room is asking for that script because one is just not enough.
But it's something that I did and I was so ready to get it over with, and I don't think I ever want to go back.
I saw you.
I think there's times when a bit of specialization starts coming in. You see, I'm like,
this one is not my field. Okay. So, on your graduation day, how did it feel? What was in your mind? What were you thinking? Like, now I'm done with this. What's happening? Am I just going to walk onto a site and become a construction manager? What did you have in mind?
Okay, I think for me it was very different, given the fact that I already had a job, we graduated within the time of COVID. We were the finalists of COVID. So, yes, we graduated from home on TV. So we never really got that excitement.
You didn't get it. Oh my,
you going to the Freedom Square and you hear engineering being great. So that one was part of it. But me mostly, I could not believe that I was graduating on time until they read my name on TV.
Seriously?
Yes. Even
now your imposter syndrome followed you.
It followed me. Even when grad books came out and I still saw my name on the grad list, I still couldn't believe that it is me graduating on time from this course.
Right? This one you entered with no physics.
I still couldn't believe it. I literally had to sit next to the TV because we were graduating from TV, they were reading the news on TV.
And to make sure you hear your name.
And that day, for some reason, the place I was at didn't have the Explorer kind of thing of recording, because I needed to record that. I needed to I still, even when I had my name, I still couldn't believe it because they were reading names really fast. And then I kept on asking the people that I was with, like, you guys are sure you had my name? Like, yeah, we had your name.
Dear.
I'm sure. I kept on asking them like the rest of the day because I had like a birthday and I kept on asking them, like, you're sure you had my name? Like, yes, we had your name.
Oh my So guys, you can see it's crazy in this field. It's really, I don't know, there's something called imposter syndrome, and it can really get a hang of you. I recently was speaking to young girls at Makerere, and if there's one message I got from these girls was, I am scared. I'm in my final year and I have fear. And the only thing I could tell them was, let me tell you, your fear is validated. Like, don't think that you have a problem for being scared. But now turn that fear into something that, like, make it a positive, look beyond the fear and look at what next. So in this next phase, we're going to look at Dorothy's what next. What happened after she managed to, finally process. Because I feel like processing took you some time. After she managed to process that she was actually a graduate of construction management. Dorothy, would really appreciate if you could tell us how you finally broke into the workforce. I understand right now you're working as a QAQC inspector, and anyone could wander from construction management to a quality inspector. So, what to understand, first of all, after graduation, after you had finally processed, now you're in the market searching. In fact, you're in the market. In fact, this people should have been looking for your service. You guys know what it means to have a whole bachelor's in construction management. But anyway, so how did you break into the workforce, and how did you end up where you are now as a quality person?
Okay, so first of all, after finishing, okay, even before finishing the degree in construction management, like my final year at campus, I kept on asking myself, I have barely met construction managers that are this young. So how surely am I breaking out in the field? Am I breaking out as a construction manager? Like, I really didn't know the way forward. To tell you the truth, I didn't know.
I can imagine.
So this random day, my dad is there and then he's like, yeah, Mbo, your uncle's firm is looking for an admin. If you were done at school, you'd probably go and be there. So I'm like, I'm
Your
like,
uncles?
my uncle's farm. My uncle has a geotech.
Okay.
But he was a silent partner. Should I say silent? Because he stays abroad, so his partner is the one who runs the farm. And I think my dad used to do some accounting for them. So I think they had asked him maybe for recommendations. They needed like someone to just be like an admin at their office and all. So I told my dad, but I'm only left with one semester. Why should I really still be waiting to finish school to get a job? I'm not with one semester. We are in lockdown. I really don't see how I'm waiting for school to ask for a job. So he was like, okay. He was like, but yeah, you'll have to go ask for a job yourself. I'm like, okay. And I know most people it would have been like, that's your uncle. But to me, this is an uncle that I had probably once or twice in my life because he has stayed abroad like all my life. And we are not really that close. I didn't even know which language to use to talk to him. So I was like, okay, yeah. I was scared. So I asked him, like, okay, how many weeks in there? I think I read that email for a week.
Tell us there was a deadline. This job you were going to miss.
I was going to miss it. So I was like, oh my gosh. By that time, I didn't even have a CV. So I told my dad, for someone with this CV, and I see how to write a CV. So my dad helped me with his CV, so I used it as a template. I wrote my CV. So I wrote my email. Like, I think I even called him dear sir. Because I really didn't know how to relate to this man.
Dear sir.
Yeah. So I was like, sometimes they request you for a job at your company as an admin. I didn't even know what the company does.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like my biggest question at that point is, what does an admin do, and what does
they had told me that it was a geotech firm, but I had only done like one course in day. Like, to tell you the truth, Sherry, me in school, I had gone through the motions in school. I used to read for exams and all, but I don't think I had actually understood.
What I get what you're saying. We are very. I think that's why in the engineering field, most people look out so much for experience, because experience is what makes the theory make sense.
Yeah, like, and then, yes, I knew what Geotech was, but I didn't think we were doing it in Uganda. Like, it all didn't make so much sense to me. I was like, anyway, and I mean, surely, I don't think I'd have to be that technical. So, I read the email, I finally send it, and then he emails me back, and then he was like, okay, I've seen your email, let's schedule an interview, an online interview. I'm like, okay. So he schedules a call, we do the call, and it was literally like a real interview. Like, I was so nervous. Actually, this was my dad's brother, but for some reason, I was so nervous. So we do the interview. It's like, okay, so he asked me, so what questions have you done with school? I tell him, and he was like, okay, we'll get back to you. He was like, I'll talk to my partner and we'll get back to you. I'm like, okay. First week goes nothing. Second week goes nothing. 15 minutes later, I think in the head. The girl goes like, no. Then after some time, I think 3 weeks passed, and it was like, yeah, so they told me that those days that they have a training at their office that they want you to attend, but about the job they said you have to wait because they're still looking into budgetary issues and all that. Okay. So they invited me for a 2-day training at their office. So I reached there, and guess what the training was about? Quality management system.
Oh, you hit a jackpot. What? You're not even done with school?
Yeah. It was lockdown time, but they had just said lifting the bit. So I reached there, and the training was about quality implementation of a quality management system. I had studied some bit of quality management, but
like we said, she wasn't understanding.
I had no idea. So I was literally in this training, and then the training begins, and then the trainer was like, do you guys have any idea about this? I think everyone else who was attending the training was an employee of the company already. So they all go like, yeah, we've had an idea and what. Then they kept on saying, except her, pointing at me.
Oh,
so every time
with all your imposter syndrome.
Yeah, with all my imposter syndrome. And then they kept on saying, except her.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I think because I had so much imposter syndrome, and I was really feeling like, oh my god, me and a newcomer, I'm one person who knows absolutely nothing about this. I think I paid too much attention. So at the end of that training, at the second day at the end of the training, the guy goes like, yeah, so we give assessment. We are going to give the CAN exam to assess how well you guys have understood this. Yeah, so they give the exam, and the exam was hard.
Can you imagine QMS exam?
A QMS exam. And it was hard because we had literally done like 2 days of
consecutive. Yeah.
Consecutive. And I'm thinking, how is someone supposed to learn this in 2 days?
Did you know that the test? When did they give you
the test?
No,
we didn't know that the test was there.
So when did they give you the test?
At the end of the training.
Like after the training, they were like giving the test.
Yeah. It was.
So there was no room for grammar.
Yeah, there was no room for read. No. The guy said go for a 5-minute break and come back for a test. Yeah. So I was there, I'm thinking, yo, I need a job by this farm. I cannot do it.
I know.
I cannot fail this. So we do the test, and for some reason, like, I kept on thinking my memory and what. So after that, okay, to cut a long story short, the guy, should I call him? The guy who had taken us through the training, marks the things real quick and all that, and then he was like, okay, so I'm just going to give you back your papers. So he reads, I think he read my name second. So he was like, oh, you're the new one. You knew nothing about this. I'm like, yeah. He was like, how come you one is the one?
Ooh.
So, and then I saw my boss. Okay, the guy who did the my boss. Yeah, he like straight up and looked at me. And
I think at the point was the gold mine.
Yeah. So I think all of them at that point assumed that I had prior knowledge. I don't know. But yeah, so that 2 day training that I was supposed to just go and go back home and wait for them to discuss turned out that since I had already aced that really well, and their plan was to start implementing a quality management system and stuff. So they go like, okay, so now that you did that well, you just start tomorrow. And that's why I began.
Wow.
And we built a quality management system from ground up until we actually got certified.
Wow. Now, guys, by the way, I feel like I was so privileged to get to talk to a group of young girls before shooting this video, because this was their biggest question, the transition. That's why I had to bring it here today to see, because I look at my transition. It also has its humps and humps. So I wanted to know how other people also transition. So for the young girls that are watching this, just do your best. Let your work speak for you, and I promise you, you will enter doors you did not think you belonged in. Okay, so Dorothy, we've heard how you got into the work field. You really just dived in. So, and normally we hear people saying it's important to get a mentor if you want to really maneuver this thing in life. Did you have a mentor at any point?
Yes, I was so lucky to get a mentor like straight up. Given the fact that my first job, they took a chance on me when I was fresh from campus. So my boss felt a need to mentor me, and he was a registered engineer. So he has seen the biggest part of my transformation from just being a graduate to actually being.
Girl, he met you when you were a student.
I know, he met me when I was a student, not when I graduated. Yeah, so he has played a really big role up to where I am at right now. Even the whole introduction to quality, because I had no idea that I would actually be quality. It's just something I would say it found me.
So normally we have we normally advise that girls seek themselves female mentors, and it's not that we have beef on men, it just comes from the angle of sometimes with male to female mentorship, things can take a different turn. Either it may go out of mentorship and become a whole different thing, if not a relationship, if not an affair, probably harassment. So so that we don't lose the mentorship relationship, we usually advise that a girl gets herself a female mentor. So we have you here. You had yourself a male mentor.
Yeah.
How did that go for you?
I'd like to say it was the easiest thing, given the fact that the male mentor I encountered was a very respectful man, still is, and it was strictly business. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I was there to learn and he was there to teach. And I think also given the fact that he was a lecturer made it a bit easier for him to mentor me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I also drew boundaries for myself as a person. Yeah, given the fact that by the time I joined the job, most people used to call him by his name, but I found it inappropriate to call my boss by name. So I just decided to call him by his title, engineer. Yeah, so I drew certain subtle boundaries that I think also protected me in a way. Yeah.
Okay, so we've had, it's really, really possible to be a woman and you have a male mentor. That's really nice to know, because we're in a male-dominated field and it's not common that you'll find that every girl will have a lady in the profession to attach themselves to. So knowing that there are some men out there that are actually willing to teach without
strings attached.
Without strings. Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's really a nice thing to know. So, but I feel like from what you just said, even us as the girls play a role in how our relationship with our male mentors would go.
Yeah.
So are there any extra insights on how you maneuvered your relationship with your male mentor that we could share, such that for ladies that struggle to find female mentors, they can apply this and, still find themselves a mentor at the end of the day.
Yeah, for example, why would you call someone in appropriate times? And because I was not calling someone within inappropriate time, so he also didn't feel like it was right for him to call me within those times. So there a boundary was set. The way you dress, I know, and I do not want to say that the way we dress is what gets people to be harassed or what, but once in a while you could also protect yourself that way, given the fact that that is the one thing we can control as women. That is what is within our control. Yeah. So basically I did what was on my side, what I could control on my side, and given the fact that I was giving the respect, he gave it back. So it was really easy.
I think I understand what you're saying, because if you're going to let them cross some boundaries, then you're somehow permitting them to get entitled. As much as their entitlement is wrong, in a weird way, you've actually enabled it.
Yeah.
But if you shut it off, it protects you too as an individual. So please, if you land yourself a male mentor, dear young female engineers,
draw boundaries.
Draw a line. There are hours you cannot be calling your mentor. We don't care how stuck you are with a structural analysis calculation at 9 p.m. Do not call that gentleman at 9 p.m. Whether he's married or single, you just cannot. You really can't. You're going to send mixed signals that are going to bring yourself problems at the end of the day. So draw boundaries and make sure you make him understand that we are here just for you teaching me and me learning a thing or two from you. Yeah, that's really, really nice. A great insight. Thank you so much, Dorothy. Are there skills that you learned in school that you found very applicable at your first job?
Yeah. Most especially, I think the one skill that makes so much sense is working well under pressure.
Nice one.
Yeah. So, given the fact that I was a last minute kind of girl, I think I learned how to work under pressure. And that has helped me a lot, because if people that field does not have time for you to organize yourself, to process, like,
I get you.
Yeah, most especially when you're working in a fast-paced environment, you need that skill. Then obviously all the others, like reading, I was always a fan of reading, so yeah, reading a lot. Then the different course units that you're taught in school also come into play. Yeah.
And so there are course units you learned in school that you applied at your first job.
Yeah.
I like that point, because when I had that discussion with the young female engineers at MOOC, their main question was, how did you transition? And I feel like that fear usually stems from not seeing the applicability of what you studied in school in the real world. You get?
Yeah, but when you start working, some things start making sense because you've studied them before. Like you get light bulb moments. You're like, oh, this is what this meant. Yeah. So you just keep on like getting some of those moments. You're like, oh, so this is why we apply this. This is why we apply that. Yeah. And I realized actually, I don't think there is a course unit that we were taught at campus level that was just for be it communication skills.
Oh, thank you. My biggest example is usually health and safety.
Yeah.
I even refused to do that course unit at campus, because I remember in my school it was optional. I remember I picked, I think it was QS over health and safety, and I felt I was making the wisest decision. I was actually wondering why people had gone to do that course. But when I reached the field, I actually went back and did a course to make sure that I understood health and safety and its applicability in the construction industry. So at the end of the day, everything you've actually studied in school, at some point, there's going to be a day you're going to be like, that strength of materials at work. Oh, that is Geotech at work. So eventually things actually do make sense, and they're not going to make sense in one go. They will make sense as
over
you go.
time.
Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, thank you. So let's talk about your current role as a QAQC. What exactly does being a QAQC entail?
Okay, so being a QAQC has evolved for me over time, given the fact that I began as a quality coordinator in a laboratory, civil laboratory setting. The kind of work that I was doing there was a bit different from the kind of QAQC work I'm doing at site. Yeah. So at the laboratory, most times your work will involve implementation of a quality management system. And surely I can't go into that right now because that's a whole other thing of its own. But as of right now, my being a quality control inspector involves making sure that works are done the right way on site, that implementation is okay, it's according to project specifications, international standards, clients' requirements or needs. Yeah, so it's just looking out for those things to make sure that what we are producing is of good quality, as you hear, quality. Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically what a professional QAQC is looking for, to ensure that at the end of the day, what is being put on ground is to standards.
Yeah.
It won't put people's lives at risk. So, Dorothy, could you give us some of those personal traits that someone would need to succeed in this career?
Okay. I think someone needs to be able to pay great attention to detail, because a lot of quality involves details. Details that someone would normally miss. That is what you need to look out for as a quality personnel, because the person executing the works, they know what they're doing, so obviously they're going to look at the overall picture. Now you as a quality personnel, you come in to ensure that, okay, this is what is normally missed, these are the most common mistakes. So you need to be able to pay great attention to detail, all the nitty-gritties, be it a number, be it a letter. Yeah, so you need to be really keen. You need to have a keen eye.
Keen eye, yeah.
The other thing is that you need to be willing to learn at every one point in your life, at every given opportunity. Just be open to learning something new, because you're always going to encounter something new. You see, other people have the luxury to maybe specialize. Say, me, I do only concrete works, me, I do earthworks, but as a quality personnel in a project, you're literally involved in each and everything, from materials to even the paperwork itself, the quality management systems. You're involved in each and everything that is on your project. So you need to have vast knowledge about literally each and everything.
And it's really rare to get in and you find that you already had this vast knowledge.
Yeah.
So what happens is, after you get in there, and now you pick out like the things that you really realize that you lack knowledge of, and then you now go and
you should be willing to learn. Also read a lot.
I agree with you. You see, the time I worked on a site, and our quality officer was, that guy used to read too much, and I was always the one giving him a headache. When I even you overread, did you read too much? You read too much. So I recently met him, and then he asked me, how is quality going? And then I told him, man, that reading, it's like, I remember he used to always tell me I read too much. And honestly, I did used to tell him that, and I didn't realize he was doing what was required of him as a quality personnel. It really made a lot of sense. Okay. So what are like those what about the professional qualifications to become a QAQC? what do you think would be that professional qualification that someone will look for if someone applies to become a quality personnel?
Okay. Every field right now actually has quality personnel. Be it the manufacturing industry, be it the food industry, every place has quality personnel. So you would need to have knowledge in that particular field that you want to become a quality personnel for. So right now, since we are in the engineering sector, for example, if you want to be a civil works quality personnel, you'd have to have vast knowledge of the civil works. So to say you need to be maybe a civil engineer, construction manager, but you need to have knowledge of the civil works. If you're going to be quality personnel for mechanical works, you need to have vast knowledge of mechanical works, like that. Yeah.
I think I would also recommend that someone familiarizes themselves with how a quality management system works before becoming a quality personnel. Otherwise, you're likely to get in there and ignore things that are actually vital.
Also, different quality management systems apply to different environments. So you need to first of all get to understand what sort of quality management system would we be running here. What international standards are we
working with?
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. That's true. The standards and keeping up to date with the standards. Before you find it using a standard which no one looks at anymore. That's nice. So now we know that if you want to get into quality, first things first, it needs to be a field that you're quite familiar with for you to be able to become a good quality personnel in that particular field. And then you need to familiarize yourself with the quality management systems. And
they're actually short courses on that.
They're actually quite a number. Actually, you can even study it for free. Do you know? You can study it for free, and then because most of these sites that teach it for free, you find that you only pay
for the
if you need the certificate. But you've already gotten this job, or maybe you're already sure that you can get this job with just that documents that you already have. All you need is the knowledge of the QMS. So do the course. You can first leave the certificate and pay for it in the future when you finally feel financially comfortable. But do the course and know these things before you get there and blunder. So those are just among the things that you need to become a quality personnel. We've done a bit of eye-opening. You can go in and read more about it and have a better understanding. So what are those what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about QAQCs on site?
Okay. One of the biggest misconceptions is the fact that people see us as the enemy. People get very defensive every time you're in the area. Like you're seen as, like I said, we are like a police. But most times the quality that you're implementing is for the side that, like for example, if you're a quality inspector for the contractor, you're obviously going to go to site to make sure that by the time a client or a consultant gets to see this work, it is right up to standard. We are not finding any problem. So people fail to understand that we are on the same team. We're just trying to produce something that is wholesome.
And awkwardly somehow, their reputations too, as the production team,
are saved by the fact that you're looking out for these.
It's actually true, and actually they get more appraisals than the quality people when work is done well. No one remembers that the quality people were the ones ensuring that this work was done well. Everyone is like, man, that team, they do quality work. How they did the quality work, no one looks at it. So me, I look at it like it's a teamwork. And not I'm here to prove that you're doing wrong work kind of thing.
They always feel like us we're just there to point out mistakes, and people hate being criticized. But very few people are good at taking criticism.
Yeah, criticism is not easy.
That one I agree, because
I've been on a contractor end, and I know how agitating it would be for the quality personnel of the client to come and begin critiquing the work you put effort in doing. It will be feeling like, now this one thinks I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, there's that. So I think sometimes when I'm doing my inspections on site, I approach it with that experience of having been on the other end before, and I pick my words so wisely when I'm dealing with these people, because I remember there's some few things that quality personnel then said to me that I ensure I cannot say to someone on a production team right now that I'm in a quality, I'm on the quality side, because you're not helping, you're just causing resistance at the end of the day with an improper approach. So I think another important personal trait would be to be, I'm looking for the word, you need to try to put yourself in this person's shoes before you utter anything out of your mouth, because you could just say the wrong thing and you're going to spend 15 minutes on something you would have spent a second on.
The other thing I realized, dwell on facts. If something is supposed to be 50 millimeters and it's 20 or what,
exactly. And also, if you don't have the evidence to critique this person's work, why are you? You get, because at the end of the day, you're looking like the fool in this. So, are there any challenges that you have encountered being a QAQC, particularly a female QAQC?
There are a couple of this, given that as misconception, I don't know whether it's a misconception, but as women, we are known to be emotional. And most of the QAQC job entails you criticizing people's works. And like I said before, people hate being criticized. So you'd be there doing your job, minding your business, and then someone assumes that you're just being emotional. Someone, you see that there are things that we look out for, and other people are like, that's a small thing, just let it slide. But to you, it's important. It may not just be to you, it's actually to the project it's important.
That's what I was going to say.
To the project it's important. So maybe, let's say for example, you refuse to let it go because you cannot let it go.
You should not
let it go. And then someone says, you're just being emotional again. And then, given the fact that we are in an engineering world, there are different things that you wear. Sometimes you're working at tight, sometimes someone will look at you. And okay, now this one is on my part. I get it a lot, given the fact that I am a plus size QAQC. And then when someone says, they're like, will you manage to climb there? Like again, is that in Kunyoma? I don't know. Yeah, but people be like, you won't manage, you get, And I feel like those are like the two major challenges I've faced as a female QAQC.
Already now they're looking at it, you're a woman, then now again you're plus size. You know, there are those people that even look at you when you're trying to get into an excavation to do your inspection. You will see that people are looking at you with this concern of, will this chick make it? But anyway, we just pretend we're not seeing and then we proceed. Okay, so what advice would you give to someone that would like to pursue a career in QAQC? Because I believe some of our viewers would.
I just want to tell you that if you're interested in QAQC, first of all, always be willing to learn, and then look out for those quality management system courses. There are different quality management systems that are implemented in different areas, so go look out for the kind of systems that actually apply to the industry you want to work in. There are those free courses that be on the internet, you can study them. Just make use of LinkedIn. to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's actually
We
true.
underrate LinkedIn, but it actually has a lot of resources. There's
Do you know there are people that share free books on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
As in, someone sits and makes a whole book about a particular topic in them, not even the whole construction, but like a particular thing, and it's like a 300-page book. Tell me what you're not doing on LinkedIn. Like, why aren't you there?
Sorry, me, I learned the difference between quality assurance and quality control on LinkedIn. Someone dropped pie charts on LinkedIn.
But honestly,
It
there's
makes
so much, and the people who even try to use like animations. There is so LinkedIn is really a place to be if you want to grow professionally. Though again, beyond LinkedIn, you can decide to customize your algorithm to educate you. You can do it in a way that even your Instagram for you is like a place to just learn and it increases your confidence because your knowledge grows. You know, this brain is something interesting. There's a way it keeps the important info here.
Those
at the back.
little
In the time you
nuggets,
need it, it just somehow comes to your frontal lobe. And the biology, I don't know if a frontal lobe contributes to knowledge, but okay.
So instead of like scrolling, and we scroll a lot, you guys. We spend so much time scrolling. I mean, you could use a minute or two every once in a while to learn something new.
Do you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
It won't even be a minute or two. You dig in. You see how you can get taken up on a normal video? It's the same way you can get taken up. You see something you don't know, and you ideally should be knowing in your profession. You just dig in and dig in, and before you know it, this thing it's easy peasy, like someone taps from your sleep, you're ready to address it. Okay, so I want us to help our viewers and educate them small on at least one particular thing in quality management, and in this case it's ITPs. If we could help our viewers know what ITPs are, what they're about, how they can help, it would really be great so that they leave this place when they are somehow feeling like a quality person too.
Okay, so first and foremost, an ITP is in full its inspection test plan. I think the name alone explains what it's about. So generally it's a list of instructions that you follow at site as the quality personnel to get to know when you're needed, what particular things to look out for in as activities are ongoing, what should you look out for, who needs to see what, to be more specific. For example, there are different stakeholders in a project. You could have a client, you could have consultant, you could be a subcontractor that has a contractor. So it shows you that maybe at this particular stage of a project, call the whoever is responsible to witness that, to see that, to
know who to submit to what documents,
know what documentation you're supposed to maintain, know what stages to maybe come in, know what paperwork you're supposed to maintain or keep, what records to keep, and all those things. So it will tell you that maybe, for example, for the materials that you're going to use maybe at this particular stage, you need material data sheets for those materials. You need maybe material approval requests. So like even the client, like the ITP enables you to make sure that the concerned parties are approving the materials that you're using in a project. They make sure that all the necessary inspections that are to be carried out on the project are actually carried out and at the time they are carried out. For example, if we are going to have a slab, maybe you could, the ITP could stipulate that you're supposed to do a pre-pour inspection before you cast that slab. It enables you to make sure that you do not miss out on maybe reinforcement details, that the reinforcement is done according to what is on drawing, because the ITP will also tell you that you will need approved drawings to do this inspection. So it tells you what you need to do the inspections, when you need to do the inspections.
It indicates the checklists that would guide you while you're doing the inspection.
Who needs to be around while you do the inspections.
Okay. Okay, that's really, really great. Okay, so thank you so much for giving us a very good understanding of what an ITP is. It's just that we need to give it a little more context, yeah? Help people understand the impact of maybe ignoring it or being a little laissez-faire with it, because sawa yona, it can bring problems. So would like you to give us a real life example of how an ITP can save us from a problem while we're on site.
Okay, so first and foremost, I would just like to state what an ITP goes like. So usually the first acts, okay, we call them acts of the ITP, but they are generally sections. It's going to be like section 1, section 2, and they will have different activities in there. Like we said, it's an inspection test plan. So first of all, we are going to have maybe like a kickoff meeting. Who is involved in the kickoff meeting? What's involved in that? Usually
What
the
shall we look
first
at?
yeah. Then there is going to be a section for materials, depending on what ITP that is. If it's an ITP for concrete, it will have the different materials that you need to look out for. Gravel, cement, aggregate, aggregate, cement, all things, rebar, generally. So it will entail what is required for you to actually do a material receiving inspection, because material has come to site. Yeah, and that material needs to be approved by the client or approved by whoever is in charge of the approval. It may be the consultant, the client, maybe it's matching up to project specifications and those things. So, and it will go on and on and on and on. So for example, if we are doing like an inspection for a slab, we will go to the ITP and see, okay, if I'm doing an inspection for slab, what do I need to look out for? For example, we need to do a pre-pour. Pre-pour means before you cast the concrete. Maybe you need to look at your rebar, you need to look at your formwork, you need to look at your spacing, spacer blocks, all things, concrete cover, what kind of concrete cover you want to have. And you see, because the ITP tells us that this is what you need to look out for while doing this inspection, and it tells you what kind of check sheets you need to have while doing that inspection. So you're able to look out for each and every nitty-gritty, because you won't always remember. You won't always remember that now I've not looked out for concrete cover, I've not looked out for the spacing, I've not looked out for the size of rebar, and because the ITP will also tell you to look for the approved drawings for that particular structure. So you will need to know that if I'm looking at the approved drawing and this is the latest revision of the drawing, what is on my drawing needs to be what is on ground. Yeah. So it generally tells you to look out for all those things, and even when you're likely to forget, it will remind you of what to look out for. So that's basically how an ITP goes, and it enables us to prevent weird mistakes like maybe wrong rebar, having no concrete cover, things that would end up maybe leading to loss of money, loss of time, jobs, credibility, like things that will make you look stupid as a professional. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dorothy. I am sure after today, any quality person or anyone that ends up in quality knows that the ITP is your Bible. Move with it, read it, internalize it, because it is what you will need to successfully execute your job. So what is one key takeaway that you have for our audience today from your journey? Like, what do you want them to remember and learn the most about your journey?
Okay, I want them to remember that because you have imposter syndrome cannot stop you from moving mountains, walking in 2 rooms. Like, use that syndrome to be like, okay, yes, you're here with me, but what makes all those other people better than me? What makes them better suited to be here? Like, I don't know, do not give it the power to rule you, to put you down. Yeah, it's going to always be there. I really can't say I know how to not have it. but I have found how to overcome it. How to overcome it. Yeah. Like sometimes just get out of body experiences and just do things, and even you're shocked.
It's indeed called out of body experience. There are times when you need to just get up, do it, and then you realize what's happening.
Yeah. Ask yourself later, like, does that mean? But it's done.
When I was sharing with the young girls and they were telling me that their greatest challenge is they're scared. Yeah, I'm like you, man. You people. Even coming here to speak to you people, you think I thought I was deserving? I did not. I actually, in some way, at some point I thought, I cancel. What am I going to tell these young girls? But I just saw myself do it, and you see, and they told me, and the way you were so confident, you seemed so good. I'm like, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like I kept getting people telling me, you're confident, but if you knew what was in my head, if I had listened to it, I wouldn't be here confidently saying anything. So.
Sure, you almost did come today.
Do you know at some point I thought it's very possible for Dorothy to first be like, Sherry, I can't do this anymore. And I wouldn't blame you, because even for the other ladies I've approached and they've told me that I can't. I've understood them because I've been in that place. It's just that I have told them that our doors are still open whenever they feel ready. Maybe when they see other people share, they'll realize, man, it's actually not that deep. I actually also have a journey that I can share with someone to encourage them out there. So I would not have been shocked. I would have been sad, but I wouldn't have been shocked. I'm really, really glad you came out here to share your story. It has been so beautiful. It's a unique journey. In some weird way, we'll be picturing that you're going to be the manager on site, just sitting in some office.
But me, I was just so glad I was given an opportunity to see a whole new side of construction management, like a whole new way you can actually apply construction management. So many people I had met would be like, so what are you going to do?
So, madam, you are seeing yourself in a boutique, eh?
No. Actually, I thought I was going to maybe be like accounting or something like that. But when I actually stay practicing and I'm on site and I know like what I'm practicing is actually a section of construction management. I've literally specialized.
I get it. I
Yeah,
get what you're
so
saying.
I am actually practicing, and even me, I'm shocked. I'm like, oh, this course actually had a way forward.
All right. So Dorothy, so like we've spoken about mentorship today. Would really, really, really love it if you could get a girl out there, or 2 or 3 or as many as you feel you can manage, that you could mentor. Because we really, really encourage young girls to get female mentors, because not everyone is lucky. It can be as lucky as you want to get a really decent male mentor. So if you could share with us social media that you prefer us to share with our audience, such that these young girls are able to reach out to you for some mentorship.
And reach out to me on my LinkedIn. Kazova Dorothy. Just look me up on LinkedIn, and I check my LinkedIn on a daily, so I won't miss your message. Just send in the DM and we see where to go from here. I'm also still trying to find my way, but we can do this together.
And I really believe so too. Actually, when I was telling myself that I'm not ready for this journey, I realized that, but why? You get, like, I can actually move with a younger person, and she could have something to contribute to my journey, and I, at the same time, have something to contribute to her journey, and before we know it, we've really grown into something great. So, like you've heard, you can reach out to Dorothy through her LinkedIn. Please don't go and look for her on Instagram. She has given us that because now that Instagram, you may go there and they don't reply you. So please, let's go to her LinkedIn. I'm going to care to share a screenshot of her LinkedIn, just so that we're all clear of who we are looking for. And thank you so much for joining us today, Dorothy. We are so appreciative. First of all, that you overcame the fear and actually managed to come and shoot, and your time. Because right now we are at site. We're actually at site. Tomorrow morning we are all supposed to be up by tomorrow is a morning for toolbox.
Yeah,
So so we're going to be up quite early, but she actually managed to sacrifice and come and share with us. We're so appreciative. To our audience, thanks so much for coming here today. Thank you so much for giving us a listening ear. We really appreciate it. And please don't forget to subscribe, like and share to everyone else. But I feel like even gentlemen can benefit from this YouTube channel, but my emphasis is on women. Thank you so much, Dorothy. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time, and keep on liking, and please comment. We'd like to know what you have to share, where you relate with Dorothy, what you want to learn extra from Dorothy. Maybe we can learn it from another person. It may not be her again, but it could be another person that will actually share with us. Thank you so much, and have a blessed day or night depending on the time you're watching.